Good evening, everyone. How are we doing? Hello, TrekLad. How are you?
Oh, it's Trek Central
It is.
Weekly.
It is.
I'm so excited. It's my favorite time of the week now. Like, it used to be, Monday used to be my favorite time of the week. That's a story for another time. But we're back. We're back with news. We're back to chat all things Star Trek. I'm excited.
Welcome to Star Trek Central, is what we should have been called. But anyway, welcome back to Trek Central Weekly. It is the 11th of April. We're, of course, discussing Star Trek First Contact Day. Wow, if you've not seen this week's events, where the hell have you been? It certainly has been an interesting week, to say the least. We're going to be going through all of it this evening. The trailers from Picard, Discovery, Lower Decks, the Prodigy news, the movie news, and of course anything else we did forget as well. Don't forget to tell us your opinions in the live chat this evening. If you are listening audio as well, don't forget you can tweet us as well and tell us what you think, and we can go from there. But yeah, how have you been this week, TrekLad? All things been good?
All things are good. I mean, we had the feast of knowledge, the buffet of knowledge last week. It feels weird that it's almost a week ago since we got all those trailers drop on us, but had a really good time live streaming that last Monday with Commander Dom. And yeah, obviously we got the news about the movie as well. So really exciting times to be a Star Trek fan. But let's be real, Captain Jack. It's always an exciting time to be a Star Trek fan, right?
It is always an exciting time to be I was going to say Star Wars then by accident, but a Star Trek fan. I read something in the chat, I was like, no, don't say it. It's always an exciting time to be a Star Trek fan. Even more so right now, because as I've been saying for the last year or so, we are in this new golden age of Star Trek, just media in general, the Star Trek universe. And it is honestly, I almost said Stargate then, it's fantastic, you know, to explore what's coming soon as well. We've got Strange New Worlds, Picard Season 2, Discovery Season 4, Lower Deck Season 2, Prodigy, Section 31 maybe, and other stuff as well, honestly. And a movie as well. That's something we'll talk about in a minute. Movie! It's all that coming.
Do you remember that really awkward gap between Enterprise and the first JJ movie?
No, I was growing up then. I'm not as old as you.
Oh, come on. But that desert period where it was just desolate and there was nothing and we all looked like we were in a Mad Max movie and I was eating dog food and I'm sure you were too. Not you, but people in the chat. It was just a bad time. Now we're feasting.
What year was the Enterprise finished again? Was it 2006 or 5?
2005. There's a dark time.
So I must have been like 6 or 7 then. Just to put that into perspective.
Stop it. But it was a difficult time, and now look at us. You know, the Star Trek franchise is thriving. I mean, even if you don't like what we're getting stuff. The fan community is re-energized. Everybody's looking forward to the convention that's coming in Chicago.
Oh yes,
but I'm sure we're going to get the reactivation of other convention circuits. It's all happening, and it's all happening at the right time as well. And yeah, we're going to get into some of this. We're going to talk about it over the next hour, and I cannot be more excited, and so much stuff to talk about.
Don't forget, if you want to get involved with tonight's live show, you're more than welcome to super chat and get our attention by votes. Any donations is greatly appreciated to help fund the channel and do some crazy things later this year. We've been discussing about random ideas before the start of the stream, and if we put any of them off, it'll be hilarious. So please do let us know where you do that. And don't forget, you can also become a YouTube member as well and support the channel. If not, to keep up to date with your latest Star Trek news, don't forget, you can subscribe to us here on YouTube. Follow us on social media or go to trekcentral.net for anything else. And also, our community Discord server is open and available for you to come and join. It's been great seeing more of you join there and interacting and chatting with you. Thanks to everyone who's been discussing the latest trailers as well. I believe some of you pointed some stuff out we missed as well, which is fantastic. Anyway, TrekLad, segueing in this evening, I want to start off with what you just mentioned, the event. So this is Star Trek Mission Chicago. You completely reminded me there, as already I'd forgotten. But yeah, the new event, that is something to talk about, isn't it? I mean, we kind of saw that coming because CBS released like a tease video with a geolocation, and then all of us cracked that it was a convention center, and then it's like, unless, you know, they're hosting it from there, I think it's going to be an event.
Yeah, I mean, I think the location took me by surprise, given the fact that, I mean, I think that there was some anticipation that they were probably going to stay in Las Vegas, or they were probably going to go to, East Coast. I think, as memory serves, these conventions have always been a coastal affair because it makes it easy for tourism to come in. I mean, Chicago's a beautiful city. I've never been, I can't wait to go. But I think what that does is that opens it up for perhaps some people, you know, more communities who are kind of more in the center of the states to attend a convention, because I'm sure there are people, thousands, millions of people who have never had been able to attend one of these before, and I like the fact that Star Trek's opening it up. Obviously the new convention license opens up a whole load of new possibilities. Very interested to see how they do it and where they take it, but I'm sure this first convention they're going to throw so much at it, so we're going to have some absolutely amazing guests lined up, I'm sure. And you know, given the recent movie announcements, I mean, I think it makes sense that we're probably going to be seeing some, you know, I think as great as Star Trek Day and First Contact Day was in terms of giving us some content, I can imagine, and I'm going to anticipate, that what they're probably going to do is they're going to start withholding some of that information to drop it at this upcoming convention. But that's not a bad thing. And the fact that we're going to possibly be able to get a group of us all together in one room or a couple of rooms to talk about Star Trek and celebrate it, meet some actors, get some news. I'm so glad it's all coming back.
So this event, Star Trek Mission Chicago, is brought to by Repop. That name rings a bell for anyone. Repop are well known for hosting a ton of fantastic events all around the world. They hosted Star Wars Celebration in Chicago as well, which is a fantastic event. They currently own EGX over here in the UK, and I believe they own one of the Comic Cons. Here's you in the chat. Do correct me if I am wrong. I know they own EGX, which is a giant gaming convention I go to here in the UK every year when it's on. Usually hosted in either Birmingham or London. Hopefully it's back this year. But Repop certainly do know what they're doing when it comes to events, but also Star Trek as well. They did host the Star Trek Mission New York, there you go, event that has happened before. So they have dabbled in the Star Trek affairs before, so it'll be interesting to see what they've learned since then and what they're going to develop for a new show. Given that we know Star Trek is back in the new golden age right a minute, there is more reinforcement to hold a big glamorous event when things are open again. So we know this is coming in 2022, April 8th to the 10th at Chicago's McCormick Place Convention Center. So if you want to get tickets and anything for that, they're not on sale currently, but you can go over to the website and sign up for more information, etc. Put your email in there and they'll let you know. We'll definitely be seeing you there, providing it's all cross fingers and good to go next year. Hopefully it is, but Trek Central should be definitely down there. If you can't make it as well, because we know traveling's expensive no matter what time of year, we'll also be bringing you live coverage. I'll make that a guarantee now. Come rain, wind, shine, or viruses will probably be there regardless. We've got a new YouTube member, Grandmaster Yoda. Interesting name on a Trek channel, but thank you very much for becoming a new crewman of the Trek Central channel. It's greatly appreciated, man. Please do show us your new emotes in the chat as well. I've not seen them in a while. I keep putting them in there occasionally. Have you seen these YouTube emotes we've got, the Pike ones and such?
I want to see more of them.
You want to see more of them? If you've got them, drop them in the chat. I will drop in
Let's
a
just have
Borg
a
one.
wave of emotes.
There you go. It's a Borg one. We'll go with that one. So, Star Trek Mission Chicago will feature celebrity guests, interactive exhibits, exclusive merchandise, photo opportunities, basically all the general stuff you typically get at, Star Trek Las Vegas or DST. It also has gameplay and other special surprises set with the ever-evolving, expansive Star Trek universe. So, interactive exhibits is interesting because we've seen, I suppose you've seen the footage from, San Diego Comic-Con where they have a little transport booth and stuff like that, and you can beam up and get your photo taken. It's a cool idea for a little thing like that. But some other stuff is really cool. I don't know if you're a big fan of, Halo and Microsoft, but they did something a couple years back where they basically did the, I think it was the Halo Museum or something like that. I can't remember what it's called now. It was Outpost Discovery, where basically they toured all around the US and they brought props from the games, and you could journey to a Halo ring, sit in the Warthog essentially and stuff like that. If Star Trek did something similar, where they journeyed around the bridges of Voyager or Discovery or Pike's Enterprise, imagine how cool that would be. People would line up to get a picture on Pike's Bridge or Discovery's Bridge and stuff like that. That interactive exhibit there would go down really well.
Yeah, I've never been to one of those kind of gaming conventions before because I tend to save all of my nerdiness for Star Trek. I know you're a bit more widely spread, but I've seen kind of immersive features at other events, and I've been very impressed by them. I mean, I'm a sucker for an actual three-dimensional physical set. I love going to Destination Star Trek and seeing the actual recreations of the bridge, as tacky as some of them are. But I would love to see, augmented reality and some of these experiences. If you're going to recreate something that we remember, the Enterprise D bridge, perhaps, to walk around it and to immerse yourself in it. Or to, immerse us, chuck us to Vulcan or something, chuck us to, show us a 4D Vulcan. I'd love to see something like that. But it's the possibilities are endless, and I'm sure that the licensee have got plenty of partnerships all lined up, and it's going to be an amazing event. I'm just hoping that I can be there. It's better start saving now.
Yeah, start saving now. It's Chicago. It looks like hotels and Airbnbs have already flown out the airlock. So good luck. We're trying to sort something soon, hopefully, as well. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be an interesting thing. Obviously, we'll know more as the year goes on, as the world starts to hopefully, cross fingers, open up again, and the virus is hopefully put to bed. But see how it goes. Right now, we are approaching summer, but soon it will be winter again, and we don't know how it's going so far. So events are still a for the minute. We'll see how that goes. Before we jump into the big First Contact things, I guess we should touch on the movie news. This wasn't really a part of First Contact Day, but let's discuss it now. So yesterday, Viacom CBS broke the news, or via Paramount, as a deadline, and basically today Paramount Studios will be announcing they'll be releasing an untitled Star Trek Universe movie on June 9th, 2023. As of now, the film is untitled. We do not know anything about it, no details whatsoever. TrekLad, what do you think? New movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, I think this is the first time they've actually put a date on one of these projects. And it's been 5 years since Beyond, and in that time we've had 4 projects kind of come and kind of fizzle out. I mean, this kind of thing isn't new to Star Trek. We've had projects for years and years and years and years that have kind of come and gone and, not been successful.
That is the nature of development when you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, going all the way back to 1976 and the Planet of the Titans, the original kind of relaunch of Star Trek. It never happened, but I think them putting a date next to it is quite important because it's the first time, like I said, they put a date next to a movie. Now, I think there's a bit of confusion, and from the way I see things, this is separate. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's separate to the project that they've got Kalinda Vazquez. She's doing a spec script for a potential movie as well. Her only writing credits in the Star Trek universe are for Discovery. So it's interesting. Does her script factor into this project, which is being produced by JJ and Bad Robot, or are the two separate? Now, I think they might be separate.
I say we should place bets on this at some point, but I'm also going to agree with you. It's going to be separate. So we know Kalinda's project is, we don't know if it's going to do with Discovery, but given she's written for Discovery or wrote for Discovery before, and there was rumors a while back about a Discovery spin-off movie or a little tie-in movie in a way, that could tie in very nicely. But also, if JJ's involved, I would say Kelvin timeline. Yet again, though, StarTrek.com even points out by saying, is this in, the new or in the Prime timeline or in the Kelvin timeline? It's like, obviously that's just them throwing bait out to everyone. But at the same time, it's like, why mention it in the first place?
Yeah. Do you want my 2 cents?
Go on.
Okay, here we go. Not that it's worth anything, because the economics of the future are somewhat different. However, I think what we're getting a Kalinda Vazquez Discovery movie. I think we're getting a Discovery movie. Either a direct Discovery tie-in or something that takes place in that universe that we know. I am very confident that the new movie that JJ is going to be producing will not be a reboot. We're not getting another reboot of Star Trek. And the reason why I'm so sure on that, and the reason why that's probably going to disappoint some people, is they have invested an awful lot of money into the Star Trek that we are getting, which, is pretty much, with the exception of the Kelvin movies, it's all in the Prime timeline. Now, spare me, the Prime timeline isn't really Prime, because it is. But, we've got the Kelvin universe, which I think we're going to see a continuation of in some shape, and the Prime timeline. Now, my hope is that what we're going to have is, because, Viacom CBS is whole again. We don't have any of that license nonsense anymore. Is the
25% difference, TrekLad. We can't forget the 25% difference.
Please. I think what we're going to see is we're going to see them tie into the Star Trek that we've already gotten, and I am dropping a video on this quite shortly, probably tomorrow, about the fact that I think that we are about to go firmly and engage with a Star Trek equivalent of the MCU. I think that we're going to get movies, we're going to have them tie in, maybe introduce some more timey-wimey stuff, and I think it's all going to culminate in a third or fourth or fifth movie that brings everything together, like we have talked about on a number of occasions on these live streams.
I totally agree with you about this, because it's very apparent that the big three are doing this. MCU's already done it. Star Wars is in the process of doing right now. I don't know how much of this you watch on our chat here, but I'll quickly give an update. We've had The Mandalorian, which kickstarted this new genre of Star Wars films. Then we've also had a tie-in from Ahsoka from the Clone Wars, also getting her own series, but crossing into The Mandalorian. They're creating this giant, like, picture of a spider's web in a way, where everything crosses over, and it's like that. It is like a cinematic universe. Star Wars is doing it. Naturally, Paramount are going to go, ooh, we're making money. Let's do the same thing, you know, or similar. Star Trek is prime for doing it, because timelines, wormholes, and magic shifts, etc., is a lot easier to explain in Star Trek than it maybe would be in Star Wars, or MCU, or Stargate, or stuff like that, etc. It's very much easier in Star Trek, because, like, oh, we just popped through the Bajoran wormhole. Sorry, lads. How did we end up here? Oh, there was a transporter accident during a bit of wind. Way, you know.
I mean, of everything in media, in pop culture, I mean, Star Trek has always had the easiest setup to explore multiple times, multiple timelines, different universes. It's all within the grasp of this universe. It makes sense to explore it, and I think that's what they're going to start doing.
So I've just been told as well, according to IO9, which is a really respectable website, they are separate projects. No full confirmation of it yet, but it does appear they are separate projects. So we've got movie 1, movie 2 currently in various stages of production, quote unquote. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, so from what I've disseminated from the information from IO9 is this project, the project with the release date of July. It's July, isn't it?
June.
July 2023.
June.
This is the JJ produced. So I think this is going to be the Kelvin jumpstart, because it's stalled. It's been, you know, by the time this arrives, it's going to be. And also, we have to be realistic. This is probably going to be pushed back. You know, Star Trek has a long history of pushing back release dates, and you know, it's only a couple of years away, but a lot can happen in those couple of years. I do think that they have done this to a degree as well for shareholders as well, for their investors, because you know what they need to do is they need to, you know, with Viacom CBS essentially diluting some shares and releasing that as public offerings, is that they need people to get excited sufficiently so they start buying those shares. And I think saying that they're going to be releasing a Star Trek movie, which, you know, Star Trek movies don't usually break the $1 billion mark. I don't think any movie has. I think the closest we got was Into Darkness. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. But they do turn heavy profits. So I think it's an investor move. I don't think, you know, you are going to have some news outlets probably going, oh, that's why they've done it. But that's every studio does that. So it's not unusual, to quote my friend.
What was interesting for me was we had the whole First Contact Day celebrations where it's like, bam, Discovery Season 4, Picard Season 2, Prodigy, Lower Deck Season 2, and 3, way. And then they're like, oh, by the way, we're doing a movie like 5 days out. It was almost like somebody forgot to put that in the script in a way.
I honestly think it's because I would have exploded on Monday night.
Yeah, they thought we'd better spare TrekLad from exploding.
Just could not have taken any more news. But it is interesting.
There's only so many articles we can write.
The thing is, though, is, you know, IO9 and Trek Movie, they all broke this. It wasn't really shouted by Viacom CBS. People had to do some digging to find it. You know, they went onto a release slate and found it there. So I don't think it was something that Viacom CBS actually wanted people to know about, probably because it's still so early in the development. They did send out a
press release, though, so I'd say otherwise, because they sent out a press release to, like, core movie Deadline. Deadline themselves got the press. So if you notice, a lot of the articles are written very similar, it's because it's just taken from the press release, in a sense. Even we use part of that in ours.
I do wonder if that's potentially them having their hand forced, though, you know, because usually when, you know, they find out about this and they go, well, we better say something about it. But in any case, you know, I think it's great news. I think it's huge that we have a release date next to it. Let the speculation begin.
begun the speculation wars have.
Come on.
I just saw someone in the chat said Lower Decks was an insult to Star Trek. I'm like, oh, you sweet summer child.
Leave now. You are banned.
Speaking of Lower Decks, and going back to the event thing a minute ago, Mike McCann and Tony Newsom, Jack Quaid have all agreed to they're basically betting to come as the characters to Mission Chicago, like dress up as their own Lower Decks characters. Like Mike has Commander Ransom on board. Jack Quaid's agreed to do it as well. They're trying to get like Fred Tatasciore and Eugene Cordero to do it as well. So it'd be really interesting.
They're the funnest bunch. I don't know how you can hate Lower Decks. You might not like it. You might see it as a bit of a sharp deviation from the Trek that you love. But to go and say, I hate Lower Decks, it's fun. It's fun.
It's something different, isn't it? It's nice to have as well. It's nice to sometimes take the seriousness and laugh at it, because Star Trek has always been a very serious show in a way. Like, it's always very serious. That's sometimes why I personally enjoy Stargate as well, because Stargate is very serious, but also you've got Colonel Neil taking the piss halfway through and doing various things. And then with Star Wars, it's fantasy, it's more lighthearted and not fluffy, that's probably the wrong word, but it's more lighthearted to a degree. So whereas Star Trek is always very serious. So having a series to go, well, hey, let's just, oh, look who's flown up a wormhole this week, is hilarious.
But it has the potential, it has the scope, it has the layers it has the depth of, it can be a dramatic show. As we saw, in the final couple of episodes, there were stakes, the crew was in danger, there was reflection from multiple characters, there was tragedy. So you can have this show be a bit deeper than just, fart jokes and silly references. What I love about Lower Decks is it's deconstructive of the tropes that we all know and love and take for granted, but it does it in such a respectful way. And it does it in a way that, we're going to take the piss out of Star Trek, the show that we all take too seriously. But it's so much fun. It's so fun. It's not doing it in an insulting way. It's not making us feel embarrassed about being Star Trek fans. It's celebrating Star Trek. And I feel that's something that sometimes gets missed.
I definitely agree with you. And what we also know as well is Lower Decks has been confirmed for a third season coming probably next year, I think. But no confirmation when that's coming just yet. But we do know a third season has been officially commissioned and confirmed by Viacom CBS, so we'll be seeing that sometime soon. Season 2 has got a release date, and that is August 12th, 2021. So it won't be, anytime at all until we're seeing Season 2 of Lower Decks as well. We've got this fantastic trailer where we see more of a Titan, Riker as well. I'm like, Season 2 is looking really interesting so far. We broke down the trailer here on the channel. Go be sure to watch that, as there's a ton of interesting reference, such as the Ambujitsu from the Next Generation as well. Seeing that back is really into some Denoblians in the trailer. It's like so much random stuff they chuck in there. Honestly, it's fantastic. What did you think of the trailer?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I just wish it was an hour longer, really. But I wanted.
Give us a whole season now.
So many fun visuals. It looks like it's gonna tie into what we saw in season 1. We did see some pack-led action as well. I was speculating that the Titan looked like they might have been near the Bajoran wormhole. Might not be. I loved seeing the Denobulans. I think that's their first actual on-screen reappearance since Enterprise finished. Lot of love for Enterprise, the Lower Decks crew have, so that's great to see. Really excited, and also the renewal of season 3 before season 2 is even finished. I think that's indicative of a healthy show.
Definitely.
We're not going to see any of these. We're not going to see analytics, unfortunately. I'd love to see them. We're not going to see them. But to have renewed the show, I think that shows that there's a lot of faith in Mike McMahon and his creators, his colleagues, and his writing team. It's a healthy show. It's a good show. And to be honest, we didn't really see much of a trailer. We didn't see much footage of Lower Decks until a couple of weeks before it landed. I'd be quite content not getting much more, actually, because sometimes I feel like we can get too much previews of things to come. I'm sure we will get more trailers now, but yeah, bring it on. I think my feelings of Lower Decks are quite known at this point. It's an absolutely wonderful show. And I want 28 seasons of Lower Decks, please, Mike McMahon.
I could see Lower Decks easily running for 5 seasons, easy, because they've got so much material to play around with. They're in a nice space in the Star Trek universe timeline, and it fits ever so well with playing it. Like, there's so much cool stuff in the trailer as well. We've got the a new Miranda class in there as well, because they're still kicking after 100+ years. They're still going. It's like there's also a TNG version of it as well, which is really cool to see. And I hope we see more ships in in there as well. Because that's one thing Lower Decks did really well, was introduce new ship classes. Not only did we, the Cerritos itself and that class, which escapes me right now, which was the California class? I remember.
It was the California.
Yeah, it was, okay.
Yeah. Named, yeah.
And then also we had the Parliament class as well, which I love that ship. That looks really nice.
Beautiful ship.
And I'm pretty sure there's another one in there as well. I can't remember. Someone in the chat might know. I'm usually good with my ships, I've forgotten. Maybe we might get an Odyssey in, not a week goes by where I don't mention that fucking ship.
You are obsessed with that ship.
Just want one. I've got the model here somewhere. It's behind me.
If they do away with those really weird black run lines that go down the hull, I will be into the Odyssey as much as you are. All right.
They've released, I think Hero Collector released like a tier 6. It's covered in cobwebs, honestly. It's got a tier 6 version now. I like the Odyssey. Honestly, this on screen, Successor Enterprise. I'm telling you, honestly.
Do you know what, guys? Like, he talks about the Odyssey class when we're not online as well.
Wake up in a cold sweat talking about it. So the Odyssey, Star Trek Odyssey sounds like a great show name. I'm just saying.
Oh, do you know what?
My favorite ship in Stargate is also called the Odyssey as well.
Obsessed.
I have a thing with that ship. Ironically, I don't fly in Star Trek Online. I don't think I own the Odyssey in Star Trek Online yet, which is really. I should fix that.
We got to get more super chats so Captain Jack can get the Odyssey.
No. It's not what we're spending money on. It's not fueling my STO addiction. I've not played that game in ages. Tell you what ship I do fly in STO. It is the Galaxy class Dreadnought one. The one from the end of TNG. The name escapes me now.
With the third nacelle?
Yeah, the giant laser beam which Riker was commanding.
Yeah.
All good things.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was calling it something else for a second. But yeah, I fly that one in STO over giant laser beam. I think so. It's one of my ships.
It's such an over-the-top ship, and it's such a perfect ship for you to command, isn't it? So I want one now. All I've got is a stupid bloody trash Miranda, but I've only played that game for like a day.
We'll do a stream sometime where we play it maybe 1 week. It'd be a good idea to kill some time as well. But it's a slow week. We'll do it.
All right, let's do it.
So we also had Star Trek Discovery Season 4 as well, which was really cool to see. I didn't expect a teaser for Discovery this early on. I was pleasantly surprised by getting out. What did you think of it?
Yeah, well, Commander Dom, who is dearly missed today,
indeed,
helped educate me on the new tech that they're using to help speed up production. They've also been using it on The Mandalorian, the VR walls, which I watched. He shared a video with me, and I watched it, and it looks game changing. And I think that's probably a good reason as to why we're seeing such polished footage so early on. I mean, it took me by surprise. I was expecting something very similar to what we saw for Picard, which was essentially just a CGI render.
Yeah.
We got actual footage, and it looks like they've filmed a lot. They've applied a lot of effects to it, and it all looks almost finished as well. Yeah, I mean, look, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think Discovery's been on an upwards trajectory. I feel like it's still not a perfect show, but it is getting better. It continues to optimize. It continues to improve. I had some things that I didn't like. I wasn't particularly in love with what they did to the uniforms, because I quite like the grey. However, they are growing on me. I do like the return to the primary colors. The storyline is probably the most intriguing element, and I do have a theory which I might indulge you with. Yes. So my theory, I'd love to know what you guys make of this in the chat, is I think the Discovery is going to be destroyed.
Ooh.
I think we're going to see whatever is causing, whatever this kind of big bad, this gravitational anomaly. It looks to me like Discovery gets sucked into it, probably on a rescue mission. So somebody, when I live streamed it last week, was speculating that it could be a Nexus-like anomaly. So they essentially just lift the Enterprise B scene, and they have the Enterprise go in, because what they have been doing.
Gets pulled into the Nexus as well, just to add that extra bit in there.
Maybe, but what we have been seeing with the writing of Burnham is they are modeling a lot of her character while still keeping her, inherently unique and Burnham-esque. Is they are applying a lot of kind of Kirk's kind of cowboy diplomacy. I'm going to do what I need to do kind of thing, and a line that Kirk says very early on in Generations is risk is part of the game if you want to sit in that chair. And I think that we're going to see some of that from Burnham. So she moves the ship into the anomaly to rescue, the stranded, the people that are in trouble. But I think it ultimately destroys the ship, and I think that's what we see interspliced across the trailer. Obviously, we're going to get another Discovery by the end of it. That's
Two things. One, I think this season really test how well Burnham will do as a captain. And I hope, as well as I think we'll see her coming to terms of, right, she is now responsible for the crew of her ship in a way, and she has to learn to deal with that, because previously Burnham's been very gun-ho. It's like, cool, I'll go and do it myself. You know, even like Saru had to deal with her running off and doing her own thing. So now she's in the top dog position. She's gonna have to deal with, you know, the crew is her responsibility. And I wanted to know how that will reflect on the character. Secondly, I like your theory, but I think instead of being destroyed, I'm gonna say abandoned. Simply because it has to tie in Calypso the short trek somehow. Now, in the trailer, we see this very small shot of Discovery going to warp. Yet, for some reason, the model of Discovery going to warp is actually the older version, not the 32nd century version, suggesting either A, that's a reused clip, which can entirely possible given it's a thrown together short, or they've made it look old for some magic space bullshit reason, and they've sent it towards a nebula.
I want to be proven wrong. Don't get me wrong, okay? I have said it for a while, that I don't think we're going to see them tie up what we see in Calypso. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, Michelle Paradise has said it, the showrunner, so I'm like, I'll lean on it if they've made an effort to say it, so...
Yeah, but they lie. These people lie. I just don't think that we're going to. I just don't think we're going to see it. If we do, great. I hadn't noticed that it was. I think I might have noticed that it was the pre. It was the pre. Refit Discovery. I would be very interested to see what happens. I mean, does it maybe tie into the movie, how they you know, have that other Discovery turn up? I don't know. Some timey-wimey shenanigans are afoot for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's Star Trek, possibilities are endless. I've just always found when they did the refit, and the, you know, people kind of going, oh yeah, we can still have Calypso. Zora can just use her AI-ness to give the ship a makeover so it looks like the original Discovery. I was like, I don't know. It's
convenient storytelling, isn't it?
It's just a bit of a stretch, but you know, at the end of the day, Star Trek is all about stretching what is possible. So who knows? I'm excited anyway.
I'm excited as well. One cool thing from the trailer, by the way, did you notice it looks like we may have gotten a look at our Federation president, a mysterious woman who appears to be giving the top dog orders in the trailer as well, who looks like some sort of half human, half Cardassian hybrid. Now, she is very interesting. I always love these very, like, powerful characters who appear and are up to something. It's like Kovic. He is a character that interests me very much because we hardly know anything about him. This new character we presume is called President Rylak, and we've got a video coming this week exploring who President Rylak might be and who the Federation president might be in Star Trek Discovery. As now we got the new trailer, it sort of adds more weight to our original theory as well. So this woman looks very interesting. Her uniform is very similar to what Archer wore in These Were Voyages during his signing ceremony. Slightly similar, the high white collar and such.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
Yeah.
I like the continuity there.
All she needs is the Enterprise jumpsuit and we're set.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Somebody fan art that. Somebody make that thing. But yeah, I like this. Again, the new setting, the 32nd century, just allows for so much subversion of what we already know in the Star Trek universe. And there's so much to explore still, you know, and a lot of time has passed since we last were in this universe. So, you know, the Cardassians being part of the Federation is entirely possible, or it could be that, you know, there was some sort of Cardassia Prime exodus, perhaps after the Dominion War, and the race kind of diverged, and that happened. Maybe, you know, I like to see these little kind of Easter eggs and showing us kind of what happened. Maybe the Ferengi in the 32nd century are a bunch of anti-capitalistic monks.
They're Jehovah's Witnesses.
No.
What about the uniforms, though? What about the uniforms? I'm won over by them. I like the look. Obviously, it'll take more time. However, I'm not won over by the red just yet, but like the blue and the white, that works really well. But I'm liking the change. Like, it's an interesting change up. Like, I feel like Admiral Vance's uniform suits him as a flag officer. Yeah. The grey didn't suit the rest of them. I did like Lieutenant Willer's one, which was, I think, was like black and grey, the security version. I like that. Maybe we should dress everyone in Kovic's suits because he is a very fine, fantastic gentleman. I would happily cosplay as him as an event. Not with the grey hair, though.
I'm glad they kept the original uniform for Vance. They can't change my Dadmiral. They can't change that at all.
Dadmiral for life.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I had very mixed feelings about it because I liked the new grey uniform. Although having seen a couple of pictures, they did look a bit Babylon 5, which was pointed out to me.
That's a show I've never watched, you know. Just
don't need those comparisons, any more of them. But I guess I'm kind of just. I think we're getting a time jump. I think we're going to be moving a couple of years after. So I think we're going to see a Discovery that are firmly kind of entrenched in the 32nd century.
I'm not going to say years. I'd say a couple of months, maybe half a year.
Yeah,
I'd say a couple of years is pushing it.
There's going to be some sort of, you know, they're going to be more comfortable where they are. And I think that would just justify the changes to the uniform. You know, perhaps they entered at a time where those uniforms were in the process of being phased out, perhaps. I don't know. I always felt that the fabric didn't look great. It looked kind of just a bit too baggy and a little bit it looked a bit too ceremonial. They looked a bit too formal.
It's a bit like the dress uniforms in TNG's era and such.
Yeah, but what we did see in the trailer in a couple of shots was that there does seem to be a grey, more utility uniform that probably some of the lower decks would be wearing. Very similar to, you know, what we saw in TNG when they adopted the new uniform, but the lower decks were still wearing the old uniforms. I think that what they're doing is they're adopting that in canon, and you know we see a Morn character who's essentially wearing a grey, a bit more of a more utilitarian kind of uniform. So I think that's what they're going to do. Yeah, the red one looks a bit jarring. The blue one, I think, just makes the blue one kind of is easier on our eyes because that's the color we're used to seeing Stamets in. The yellow one looks great. The yellow one, I think, looks absolutely great. It just looks a bit awkward. It just looks like they kind of just looked at it and just went, "Oh yeah, we're not going to be changing the Discovery set. Oh shit, we better throw a load of dye into these uniforms."
Because that's what Gersha Phillips said. Basically, I think it was the grey uniform blended in with Discovery a bit too much or something like that, or like it didn't work very well, so we had to change it, which does make sense. And also, like grey. Yeah. One thing Star Trek's always done, the uniforms have always changed to adapt the sort of optimism and the forward thinking. I'm forgetting a few keywords here. But remember in DS9's War Era, that was, you know, basically they went to these very grey, and the undershirt was essentially the command colour, like, you know, red, blue, yellow, essentially, depending on division or the division colour.
The best uniform.
Yeah, I like DS9's uniform. However, it wasn't very optimistic or, I'm forgetting a keyword here, not enlightening, that's the wrong word. It just wasn't very sort of like, you know, bright in general.
It wasn't very peacetime.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't reflecting the optimism and the outgoings of Starfleet in the Federation. Therefore, I've seen someone in the chat say Gucci uniforms. That'd be hilarious. So basically, you know, the Federation for the last 100 years has been in the post-burn world. It's not been very optimistic. They've been on the back foot, essentially. So these grey uniforms represents that. Whereas now, it's like, cool, right there again, we're making headway, you know, we're aligning people are coming back to Federation, let's get colourful, jazz it up a bit, away we go. Star Trek has done this before, where we had, you know, the DS9 uniforms, yet they then moved to the uniforms we see in lower decks, and also then by Picard's time, which I love Picard's Starfleet era uniforms, which we see in 2385 with him and Raffi wearing. I love those ones, I think are great. We see Rios in it as well.
I love that theory. I really like that theory. That, you know, the uniform kind of reflects the mood in Starfleet. Something that kind of breaks that theory, though, is I guess that we see in lower decks that the Titan crew are still wearing that uniform, whereas lower decks are wearing the much more colourful uniforms.
Well, we knew they updated at certain points. I mean, look at Discovery as well. Discovery is still having the old uniforms, whereas Pike's Enterprise got the new ones. I think it's updated on a case-by-case basis in a sense, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I think the theory has always been that, you know, Starfleet's so vast it takes a while to update uniforms, I guess. But
Amazon Prime is all up to date.
I mean, we can get something 24 hours, they can't get it. But
surely you just make more new uniforms though. Like, we've got replicators. Hang on a minute, we've got replicators. We can make new they're not shipping them out tailor-made. Maybe Garrett's like going, I work as fast as I can, you know.
Maybe they are. I don't know.
Have you seen that video online of Garrick and Bashir meeting for the first time, but it's got the Wii music in the background?
Oh,
You've not seen it. It's basically like someone's like dubbed the text over. It's like, oh, what am I doing? Garrick's touched my shoulder. Oh my god, nervous thoughts. I've got to show it to you. It's hilarious.
Please do. I need to see it.
If someone in the chat has seen it as well, please tell me, because it's hilarious. I love it. I was going to do one of my shit posts on the TC account and tweet it out again.
We haven't seen one this week. Where did it go?
I think we did one this week. What did I do this week? I swear I did something this week.
I'm going to go check it out now.
DJ, if you're in the chat, I swear I did something funny this week. I promise. I try to be entertaining at least once a week.
I have filled my quota for this week.
I did one. Well, technically, I said, what is on Ensign Rutherford's mind? Wrong answers only. I don't know if that counts as a shit post, but...
Yeah, it all does. It all does.
I'm not scrolling through my tweets of Star Trek First Contact Day.
I am going to take you at your word, because that's what we should do with all good captains, okay?
Oh, yeah. Up until I brought forward court marsh. Not going any further. Speaking of all good captains, Star Trek Picard Season 2. We got our first teaser of this. Although it's very much a CGI teaser, it did reveal some interesting elements throughout the trailer. But also the big news is John Delancey is returning as Q. What do you think of that?
What a good segue that was, by the way.
I know, it was good. No, I'm good at these.
I'm very impressed. Yeah, look, I mean, people know me, know that I didn't get on with Picard Season 1, but do you know what? That all went out the window as soon as I saw this teaser. And I think for me, it's the standout piece from First Contact Day, and they treated it to us first thing. Yeah, not a lot of footage. It's essentially just a purpose-made teaser, but the stuff they packed in this teaser was beyond. It broke my tiny 5 IQ mind. That's what it did. And you cannot in good conscience and good faith say that the people who are running this show do not know Star Trek, because I'll show you a 60-second teaser that proves otherwise. We saw artifacts and trinkets that you needed Sherlock Holmes to work out where they were from in the TNG show, and a lot of love went into that teaser. Now, I had initially some mixed thoughts on Q coming back, but now I think, given a bit of time has gone by, I quite like it. I'm on board with the whole idea that they have unfinished business. And what I do like, though, is I like the idea that we could potentially use John Delancey's Q to add a little bit of lightness to Picard, because I feel like it was just a little bit relentlessly dark and miserable first time out. Now, I'm sure we're still going to have a mature show. I'm sure people are going to die. I'm sure Agnes, or whatever her name, Jurati's going to throw up every 5 seconds.
Go to kill more of the crew, more of the important characters we've known for 20 years.
Have to go to prison and stuff like that. But I do feel like Q coming back gives us the opportunity to have a more positive story, maybe. So many theories. My initial theory was that there were some red herrings in it, that potentially it didn't involve time travel, and that it involved Jean-Luc Picard grappling with the fact he's no longer a human, and what happens when you're no longer bound by conventional aging. They did say that they had programmed that golem to age properly, but maybe something went wrong. Maybe he's not aging. Maybe he can run upstairs now. And how does that change a man? Essentially he's part of a marginalized society, a lesser society now, that he's a synth. So how does that factor in? Maybe it's a regret. Maybe that's why Q is there. So many things. Somebody was even saying that the green reflection from the hourglass signified that the Borg were going to be in it. And I was like, okay, no more internet for you.
So one of the big things as well is various links to Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Benjamin Sisko, because we see a Shattered Reckoning tablet in the trailer as well, which was last seen in a DS9 episode, and that has obviously lit up many Trek fans across the internet, us as well, and that is really intriguing in what they're going to play there, whether that's just linking to Picard's fascination with archaeology, or maybe a Cisco appearance. That's far-reaching, but maybe we're going to go back to DS9. That would be fantastic, because the actors and actresses of DS9 have always said their shows were the neglected one. Repay us. Visit us to a modern DS9 right now. Take us there. Last Arena pulls up. Quark's still there, Everyone's having fun. Why not?
I think if they do go back to Deep Space Nine, I don't think any of our
old
heroes are going to be there. No, Quark's got his moon now. He's good.
True. It'll be interesting to see. They don't need to be there because it's a space station after all. Earth Space Dock's been around for God knows how many years. It's going to have different commanders and people. But it could be maybe DS9 is not a part of the Federation anymore. Who knows? It could be something else. I think Bajor is part of Federation now, but it depends. This is something we could explore if the story needs it. Obviously, that tablet, on the table there could just be there for the sake of it. We don't know what it's got to do just yet.
I'm very firm in my belief, my opinion, that I think that it's cool to see it. I think it might tie into the story. I just like the fact that Star Trek is now able to feel like they can incorporate elements from other shows in, because they used to be in the 90s when they had all the shows running concurrently, where they were like, no, you have to stay in your lane and you can't really talk about us that much and all that kind of stuff. That's why Voyager never went to the Gamma Quadrant and all that kind of stuff. The fact it shows that they know that the Star Trek universe is a wide universe. You can have so much stuff in it. I personally, and I know I'll get some flack for this in the chat. So boo me in the chat. I don't care. I never want to see Cisco ever again. And I'll explain. I'm gonna explain.
Sacrilege.
No, it's not. No, his story wrapped in the perfect way. It was bittersweet, absolutely. Devastating. You know, the fact that he fulfills the prophecy, but you know he can't live the rest of his life with Cassidy and with Jake and with their baby. It was meant to be that way, because sometimes we don't get what we want, and that's something that we have to. It's something that happens in life.
Everyone gets a happy ending, really.
No. Now, would I like to see Ben Cisco? Yeah, if it makes sense, and I don't think it does. Because of the reason.
What about Cisco's daughter?
I mean, yeah, you could do that. I mean, Cassidy and Ben's daughter, I think would be a cool. That would be. So the reason why I say this is not because I hate Ben Cisco's like the best captain. He's the best. It's what Star Trek needs to do, and they have been doing it with Discovery. But what I want to see them do a little bit more is. The characters that we're seeing, Picard and Riker and all these characters that they're probably going to bring back for small cameos, is use them as opportunities to pass the torch, like properly pass the torch.
Yeah.
And you know, create new heroes. Okay, create new heroes. So Ben Cisco's daughter is a really good shout, Captain Jack. But we don't need Ben Cisco back. We don't need it. And that's the reason why I would like them. Just establish new characters, give us new heroes. That's what we want. I'm sure that's what I want anyway.
It's a great way of doing that, and you know, passing, because obviously some actors are getting older, or well, obviously everyone's getting older. You know, it makes sense to do that. I mean, even Cyril Lofton could be an interesting one as Ben, you know, Jake Cisco in a way. That could be interesting because he's still about, but passing the torch to another thing, or just a small cameo. And I think modern Star Trek has handled it well, where he said they'll only bring in legacy characters if the story suits it, which personally is the best way to be. You don't want to oversaturate your new stuff with bringing back people to light things up. Now, Q coming back in Star Trek Picard, one could argue that, yeah, that's just them doing it for its Q. Yes and no, but does he serve the story? Yeah, I think he did, because he was a big part of Picard's life. He essentially challenged Picard during a lot of difficult times. There's obviously Tapestry, which is a fantastic and pinnacle Q and Picard episode, I'd say, where he gives Picard an alternate view of his life if he didn't make a risky decision and, you know, he got stabbed with a heart, where he would have just been a low-grade officer of the Enterprise D in a way, serving under an unknown captain and William Riker. So Q is a very pivotal character, but Cisco, I'm saying, probably wouldn't play much of a story yet. It depends where they're going with the story. So they should only bring in these legacy characters if it absolutely needs to, you know, amplify the story, if there's a reason for them to be there, because else it's just putting a name on the poster for the sake of more views in a way.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. And the other thing as well is, if we're going to get some sort of Stargazer or Picard Academy flashback, if we do get that, because Q enters the story to do that, that opens up the potential for us to tell stories to fill in the gaps between the end of Kirk's era and the beginning of TNG. That's such a large and unexplored part of the Star Trek timeline. Yeah,
we've only had dips in, like, you know, dipping. We saw the Enterprise C, but we've rarely seen parts of it, haven't we? It'd be so interesting to tell that. Before you do, thank you to Chris West for your $4.99 donation. What ship would be in the new film? I'm hoping Enterprise E. I miss the Enterprise A. We discussed this at the start of the stream. You can go back and watch it. It purely depends where the film takes place and what they're doing. It could be the Kelvin timeline. It could be the Prime timeline. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping for new Enterprise at some point. I miss the Enterprise E and A. I miss all the Enterprise. Maybe an Odyssey class Enterprise. I'm just saying. It could be a really good idea. Speaking of the Starfleet Academy, just said, by the way, there has been long rumors about a Starfleet Academy series. No concrete information. But what about this could be an interesting way? If they show Picard, you know, at the Academy or on the Stargazer, could be a very convenient way to spin off an Academy series. Test the water in Picard. If people like it, spin off and commission a series fully. It's well known that, you know, series and productions do this from time to time. So if this series idea is something that's been floating around, could be interesting.
Yeah, and you know, it's not unknown for show. It's not unusual for shows to do these things to serve as backdoor pilots for other things.
Discovery season 2 was literally a backdoor for Section 31, which obviously wasn't received very well, and I don't think we'll see it anytime soon. But
no, and also I think we have to be honest that I think the numbers that come back for Picard are probably going to be lower for season 2 than season 1, and I think that's the reason why we're getting such a tantalizing trailer, because I didn't like Picard season 1. I'll be coming back for season 2. But there are going to be some people who are less forgiving, who are
Yeah.
just going to go, that was not what I wanted. And there are people out there who do that, and that's fine.
That's pretty fair.
And yeah, absolutely. You like what you like.
For me,
And,
like, I liked Picard. How the ending was one of those endings was like, oh, okay, then it's like, this ending was, for me, like, it was set up as a giant climactic battle. I thought, oh, the fleets are, and when the Starfleet fleet came in, I was like, oh, ship battles, things are gonna go exploding. No, okay. And that is obviously very Star Trek, just talk it out and leave the system. That is Star Trek 101, is have a chat, resolve it, and we're hey. But at the same time, it's like, eh.
Well, I think it's the fact that it just devolved again into Universal Armageddon again, and it just, you know...
It's a very common trope these days, where it's like, oh, the whole galaxy's threatened.
I quite liked the fact that they never fired any weapons, but my biggest grievance with it is, you know, why wouldn't the Romulans just go back 5 minutes later and just fire a torpedo?
Nuke from orbit.
That's all they needed to do. That's all they needed
Sorry,
to do.
we slipped.
I fooled you. I had my hands behind my back.
I feel like, you know, Picard dropped the ball on a lot of things. One big one was the character of Hugh. I feel like he wasn't utilized properly. That and the whole Borg cube. The Borg cube was set up as a very mysterious thing. And when we knew the drones were still there, we could have seen a whole Borg rebellion with Hugh leading that in a way and striking back against their oppressors, or actual oppressors this time. That can be really interesting to see. Nope, they just got flushed at the airlock. And it's like, just come on.
I think somebody made an argument to me recently that Picard works better as a binge show. I don't like binging shows because I feel like I don't think we're designed to take in 10 hours of entertainment in one sitting. I don't think it's healthy. However, I do feel that Picard would have benefited from all of the episodes being dropped in one go.
Sort of how The Expanse has done previous things, and obviously it depends how you write it. It's like a movie in a way. You wouldn't take the MCU or like Avengers Endgame and watch in, you know, 30-minute slots, because you'd lose track and it just wouldn't make sense, would it, if you cut it off every 30 minutes. So take The Expanse, for example. Have you watched much of The Expanse?
I've never seen a single frame of The Expanse. I know. I'm going to sort it out.
You're going to sort it out by next week. You're going to sort it out and we'll see where you go.
No, I've got too much stuff to do, Captain
Anyway. So season 4 was released one sitting on Amazon. They released the whole thing, all 10 episodes, and I binged, I think, 8 episodes in one evening. I was a bit of an unhealthy obsession. Anyway, that season worked very well as a binge show because it made sense. Every episode picked up where the other episode left off, and it suited it. However, the latest season was an episodic one. So it released a new episode every week. I think it's starting in December, all the way up until the first week of February. And while it was a pain in the ass to wait for each episode, you think, oh, I want the next episode now, it did ultimately tell the story better. Whereas Picard, I bet if I went and binged it now, and I might do it when I have some time, cross fingers, maybe in a blue moon, I will probably enjoy it more if I binge it. Whereas Discovery, it serves as episodic in a way. So I reckon it's how it's written in a way. Could be interesting for it.
I mean, going back to the writing of Picard, I do feel like the problem is I think they got a little bit overzealous, and I think they tried to do too much. I think we got 3 seasons of content in 10 episodes. I feel like if you remove the Borg subplot, if you choose one, choose the Plight of the XB or the Romulan Crisis. Both are equally as powerful, both are meaty, but I think they just tried a little bit too much. They kind of dropped a lot, and it just left me... the thing is, though, is there are people out there, I've got some really good friends who absolutely love Picard.
Yeah, which is perfect, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, but they have explained to me why they love Picard, and I get it. There are people out there who we all like different things, and I think that has to be respected.
Which is a perfect analogy for Star Trek, because Star Trek teaches us to accept, you know, other people's opinions, you know, and deal with them. It's like, you know, infinite diversity and infinite combinations. It's Star Trek 101. So the fact people have different opinions, you know, on the show is fantastic, and we should celebrate that in a way. There is some people who absolutely hate Picard, and fair enough, that's completely fine. It's not everyone's cup of tea. Same with Discovery, same with Enterprise, and all those series that come before it. There's people out there who absolutely do not like DS9, even though some would, like myself, would class it as a masterpiece of Star Trek. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion of Star Trek at the end of the day, and any media. You should never like shoot or like, you know, put people down for how they like stuff in a way.
I dig, absolutely, I dig. However,
I hear that a different way now. You say, I'm just saying.
I can't trust you if you tell me you don't like Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, no, if people don't like DS9, that's where we draw the line. No, you're allowed an opinion up until that.
You're not coming on the podcast if you tell me you don't like Deep Space Nine.
Every time I send an email now, I'm just a quick question. Do you like Deep Space? No, I'm sorry, blocked, you know.
Blacklist.
We're not having those on. We'll do it on the Trek Central After Dark channel. No. People are going to think we're commissioning that channel now.
Yeah, it's got to be a thing. It has to be a thing. People are like in the chat going, what's that?
Trek Central After Dark, TrekLad, Dom, I mean, we could get Dom on. He gets pissed on wine very easily. He's going to hate me for telling the story, but I'm going to tell it anyway because he needs a laugh right now. I asked him to get me a picture of him once for the website. I said, can you take a selfie? I need to use one for the website. I said, I'll send a beanie over. Just take me a normal selfie, it'll be fine. So I've got his picture on my phone. I'm never allowed to share because I think he'll like bomb my house. However,
Sure.
I can't. I got a picture back instead of Dom pissed with a wine bottle in his hand, and it's absolutely hilarious. I'll show you at DST one day. I've also got a picture of Dom wearing Andorian fucking antennae from DST, which I took. He won't let me share that either. It's hilarious. Honestly.
Dom, come on, be a good sport. Be a good sport in the chat, dear chap, and show us your pics. Come on.
Maybe I'll update the website picture one day. It'll be next year's April Fools. I'll put it on there for 24 hours and take it off again.
That has to be a thing. That has to be a thing. There we go. We can all get terrible pictures up there.
What we'll do is when we do like a bigger live stream, we'll say something for 1,000 likes. Dom agrees, yes. Or we'll do like a charity stream where it's like £1,000. He has to release the image. That'll be hilarious.
We have done a thing. So Dom and I, we agreed on the First Contact day live stream that I think if we hit a certain milestone, I think it's still TBC, that him and I will go on a Trek Central live stream and we will do a duet of Faith of the Heart.
I tuned in while you were saying this because I had the stream open on the Mac and I was pressing unmute so I could listen. I'm like, it's at certain points where you also said, we'll have to see about Jack getting us hotel rooms sorted for Mission Chicago, at which point I typed in the chat, I'm out of here, and left.
Yeah, that's what
this is my cue to leave.
Yeah, we did promise a lot of stuff. I think we also said to everybody that attended that live stream that you'll fly them out to Chicago.
Did we? No.
You're still good for that, right?
Yeah, definitely. We'll be doing it by airmail instead, or boats. My boat is currently parked off the Suez Canal. It shouldn't be along any shorter.
Oh, amazing.
Chat, we're going to start wrapping the stream. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Thank you to Grandmaster Yoda on YouTube, member here on the Trek Central channel, and also Chris West for your $4.99 or $4.99 donation. It's greatly appreciated, and hopefully we will see the Enterprise E very soon, or maybe the Enterprise F, aka an Odyssey class, a man can dream. Thank you very much for joining us this week on Trek Central Weekly. We'll be back next week with more discussions from the Star Trek universe. We also do have a very special Lego Star Trek stream coming soon, hopefully this month due to scheduling, and we'll see where it goes, so make sure to tune for that one. We'll hype it up via social media, etc. TrekLad, I believe you're hosting a watch party this evening, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, plug time. Yeah, I'm doing a watch party right after this. We're going to be watching the Voyager episode, Message in a Bottle. I'm dropping the link in the chat. Come and join me. It's free.
Make it so. All right, everyone, this is very much it from the Trek Central Weekly this evening. Don't forget, we've got 2 fantastic videos coming out this week. One being our Federation President theory for Starship Discovery Season 4 and beyond. It's very interesting. I wrote it this weekend. I've been on just a milestone of writing videos lately, so enjoy all the new content coming from me up until I burn out and can't think of Star Trek anymore. So good luck, because I'm also writing Star Wars videos as well, and it's a nightmare. So yeah, it'll be very fun. Don't forget, we're back here every week right now at 9 p.m. BST for your latest editions of Trek Central Weekly. Don't forget, though, if you can't watch us here live, you can watch the VOD on YouTube as well. But if you do want to listen to us in podcast format, available on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and the other one, Spotify. That's a big one. Nice one, Jack. Forget that one. You can find us over there on Trek Central Weekly. The latest episodes are uploaded every Wednesday at around about 8 p.m. BST. So if you want to listen to what we just said here this evening, wait for Jack to edit it and upload it, and it'll be available on Wednesday, if not sooner. Probably Wednesday, if not later at this point now, because there's a lot of editing to do. Anyway, it's been myself and TrekLad this evening. We do hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you very soon.